Oh, yes, the mighty sounds of Captain Dan. Yeah, here on Blue Please. This is Total Biscuit. This is WoW Radio. Captain Dan, myspace.com/Captain Dan. The rest of the music in the show, aside from one particular track, as requested by Spirit Wolf, will in fact be Captain Dan. Check out their MySpace, myspace.com/Captain Dan. Buy their CDs. Now I'm giving you the opportunity to win Captain Dan albums today. I have quite a few Captain Dan albums sitting on my floor, as well as a couple of copies of some of their side projects, which consist of KMFDN style metal and some crazy ambient stuff. I was very impressed with all of it, quite frankly. So I am going to give you the opportunity to win those stuff, courtesy of Captain Dan and Non-Existent Records. And I'm calling the contest, Where is the RP? So where is the RP? That's the question. What do you have to do to win? Very, very, very simple. You have until next week to send me your best pirate impression. Your best pirate impression. Send it in as a WAV, an MP3, a .org, whatever the heck you like. But you've got to record it and send it over to themurloc@gmail.com and email it under the title, Where is to RP? I don't care about the spelling, but yeah. So, where is to RP? That is the question. My pirate impression's terrible. Yours could be better. And as a result, you could win. Win big, I say. So, go, go, go. Right, okay. Bit of a shout-out must go out to, of course, dig.com and their amazing promotional tools. You can promote us using dig.com if you go to our shows page and you register for dig.com. It takes all of 20 seconds. And click dig. Now, some people have wondered, so why have our dig amounts gone down? And the reason is this. If you dig and then don't dig anything for 2 weeks, your digs not so much disappear, but they don't count towards anything. So if you've dug and you think your dig has disappeared, then go back to dig and dig one of our shows. Doesn't matter which. Just go to, click the podcast feed, and there's loads of shows. You can individually dig the shows. Click on your favourite, or dig something else that you like. Either way, that's the best way to use it. So dig.com, and check out our shows page at wcradio.com/shows, if I remember correctly. Check it out. Right, okay. Let's get back on topic, shall we? I have new content. As you may have heard, there is something called the Armory. Yes, the Armory. Now, some people are arguing that it's amazing. Some people are, in fact, arguing that
it's over 9,000!
Yes, they think it's amazing. Some people don't. Some people hate it. Some people think it's, oh my god, invasion of privacy. Now, I have my own opinions on this, which is what you're going to get right now. The Spirit Wolf interview is coming up right after the segment, but right now I'm going to tell you what I think of the Armory. It's a difficult decision to make, because initially when I saw the release of the Armory, I thought, good lord, this is made of lose, and the result was clear. Since the release of the Armory, the amount of fanboys that I've had contacting me, now there's nothing wrong with fans, it's just the fanboys that pester you and stalk you on your server that are really getting on my nerves. So, I've had a lot of them contact me. It's like, oh my god, TB, why are you 61 arcane spec? Someone even actually created a thread about this. It was horrible. It's like, why are you 61 arcane spec? Why do you only have 3 in fishing? Why have you got this gear? Why do you still use Nax gear when you could be using this gear? Why do you do this and this and this and this? Leave me alone, for the love of God, and all that is holy. And of course, it's not optional. And there's your big kicker. It ain't optional. The Armory is nice. I mean, the actual coding behind it is great. It looks nice. As a utility, as a official WoW profiler, it's great. Except for the fact that I can't opt out of it. Now, that's what I would like. I would like the option to opt out of it. Now, you're going to argue, well, you don't have any privacy because Blizzard owns your character. Yeah, you're right. Blizzard does own my character. But they also have the choice of what to do with it. If they wished, they could remove all of its items and sell it on eBay. But they don't do that, do they? Because it would annoy me. And it would annoy the community. And again, you're implementing something that is forced upon someone when you're used to something else, yeah? Since the dawn of World of Warcraft, we're used to having profiler sites that you can optionally put your stuff on. And if you don't put it on there, cool, that's great, because you don't want your stuff to be splashed all over the internet for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter what reason, it's an individual choice. You know, I'm not particularly ashamed of my gear. I think it's damn good for the level that it is. It's really quite nice. It's good choice gear to have. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that I want it thrown all over the internet and linked all over the place and say, well, hey, look at this guy's gear. Look at him, look at him, look at it. Well, yeah, I don't want that because I'm used to having the option. Yeah? And that's what it is. It's about giving people the choice. Now, I would argue that a community in itself is, of course, your realm. A realm is a community within itself. It's a microcosm, or in fact a macrocosm of the WoW community inside a little bubble on its own, and I like it that way. You know, I like I really do like it that way. People on my server, yeah, they can view my gear. That's cool. They can't view my spec, and we're going to come on to that in a little bit. But they can view my gear. They can have a look. If they're on the same side, they can view my gear. That's cool. They can talk to me. That's also cool. But I'm not displaying it for the world to see. No, no, no. Absolutely not. Now, I would argue that, of course, a realm is a community within itself, and as such, there should be certain things that you can only do if you're part of that community, like inspecting people's gear. To make characters worldwide is a little bit of a misnomer, in my opinion. It's not a worldwide thing. It's the same copy of the game on multiple different servers, and servers are within themselves their own community. The wider I can't even say it. The wider WoW community, try saying that after 3 pickled onions and a pint of Jack, is difficult to describe because it's not really a community as such. It's just a big ball of fluff. That effectively is all it is. It's a lot of people who have got involved in this big snowballing effect of WoW, and they claim to be part of the WoW community, but what is the WoW community in general? It, in my opinion, just doesn't exist. It's just a big collection of people and a lot of fragmented little user groups. And that's cool, because I would rather have... Let's make a stupid analogy that you will never forgive me for. I would rather have WoW being a giant tree of a community with many branches and twigs, rather than a turnip, which is all stuffed together under the ground in one place. So yeah, I'd rather WoW be a tree than a turnip. That's probably the most profound thing and stupid thing that I've ever said in my life. But there you go. So, I would argue that point. Now, there are other things that you need to consider, like, for instance, what now for CT Profilers, RPG Outfitter, and a number of other reputable profiling sites? Well, the answer is, well, nothing, because they've pretty much been killed. People would argue that, hey, well, they have this feature and this feature. Well, have a look at it this way, yeah? What if Blizzard launched, say, an official radio station of their own that was available in-game? Now, no matter what the quality of that might be, say, it could be 300 times worse than WoW Radio is right now. It could have a DJ that is a complete moron, and people would listen to it more than they would to this station. Why? Because it's easy access. It's built in, and it's Blizzard approved. Oh yes, official. We've seen it before with various features of the site. People will start using that. We've also seen it before with the whole bringing in of mods and integrating mods into the game. That's something interesting to talk about and something interesting to perhaps worry about. When Blizzard takes a mod and integrates it into the game, does that mod die off? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Now, most of the time, the mod that Blizzard implements is not quite as good, but people will use it an awful lot. The popularity of the mod will certainly take a hit. Some mods pretty much will get killed off altogether. Some mods become pointless. Some mods become unsupported. But then again, a mod maker can always go on and do something else, and often a mod maker has made more than one mod, and that's cool, or they can progress their things in other ways, and they've already got an established user base. But they're not one-trick ponies, like, say, CT Profile. People will argue that CT Profile has various different options, like the ability to have your wish lists and your other sets of gear. Well, that's nice, but then again, it doesn't have immediate access to the database that Blizzard has, and it's not on the website. And it doesn't look as shiny, and people do like shiny looks. Let's face it, the armory does look very, very good. So that's a bit of a kick in the teeth, in my opinion, to fan sites that have actually stuck with the game from day one. Now, you might say that, hey, it's an honour for these sites to get integrated. Well, yeah, I'm sure it is an honour, except for the fact that that's what their site's based on, and it will most likely wither and die as a result. Because who would use it when you've got instant access to the armory? The armory's updated without you having to make any effort to update it. The armory is 100% legit, as in you can't fake gear on it. The spec comes up, your gear comes up, you can't fake it. It's there, right? And that's really, really important, because people value that. And here is, in my opinion, one of the good things about the armory. The armory, of course, gives you access to information which is legit. At least it's a little bit lagged behind, but it's legit. Which means if you want to check up on people for guild recruitment or even pug recruitment, that's great. But then again, look at it from the flip side. You can inspect people who you're up against in PvP. Surely that takes away a little bit of the mystery and a little bit of, well, I'm not going to say skill, but the requisite knowledge to actually determine what people expect just by seeing what they do and observing their actions and learning from them. Now, surely that is an element to the game. That's a very important element to the game. It always has been, always will be, in my honest opinion. But now, how long is it before someone manages to either create a mod or someone manages to create a parser, which makes it a lot easier to hunt down this information, to the degree of you might be able to look it up very quickly in a battleground, or perhaps even an arena. If you're really, really fast, you just have one person dedicated to quick, hey, what's he got, what's he got, what's he got? You might not necessarily know who you're up against, but then again, what happens when it gets to the stage of being, right, now we're dealing with the regionals, and we're dealing with the more serious PvP, and you can check out what your opponents have done. The interesting thing is that Blizzard are actually using that as a marketing tool. They're saying, hey, look at your opponents. And that's like, well, why? Why would you want to do that? Surely the whole idea is you're not supposed to know what your opponent's got until he hits you in the face with it. I'm not keen on that. I'm not keen on everyone knowing what everyone else has got. I think that detracts significantly from the PvP experience. It really, really does. Sure, if a fixed team's going to go in over and over and over again, wearing the same gear and using the same tricks and tactics, people will learn from it. But learning is something which is, again, important to World of Warcraft. It always has been. Learning encounters, learning how to do this, learning how to do that. But you're just removing an element of that. It's like saying that you are knowledgeable. So it's like saying you're going into an exam with the answers already in your hand. You don't know the answers, you just happen to have a piece of paper with them written on. It didn't require you any particular knowledge or work ethic or effort to acquire that information. Absolutely not, and that is a killer in my opinion. That can be a real killer. So yeah, I mean, my personal opinion of the Armory, while the principle is nice, the fact that they implemented it without an opt-out feature and seem to have implemented it without any care in the world as to the effect it's going to have on multiple profiling fan sites is not a good thing, in my opinion. Now, you know, for Alakazam profiles, I don't give a damn. They're owned by gold farmers. Who cares? What about the smaller and more reputable sites? What's going to happen to them? Especially bearing in mind that some sites, say like RPG Outfitter, it's a one-trick pony. That's what they've got, that's what they do, and that's what they do very, very well. And now, well, you apparently can't do that. At least you can, but no one's going to use it. Of course no one's going to use it. It's far too easy to use these armory links. And of course, once their website gets back up to speed, there'll be no reason not to use it. So I'm not a big fan, to be quite honest, for that reason. The solution? Opt-out. Yeah? I believe that opt-out is a viable solution. It's the same as, say, having feedback on eBay. Yeah? You can actually make your feedback private. But when you do that, people will question, well, why? Yeah? And that's fine. If I want to opt out and make myself a private character so that people have to come and ask me about things if they want to know any information about me, then that's cool. But you know what? I actually value the idea of building up a reputation on your server and not having people judge you significantly by what gear you're using or what reputations in-game you have, rather than your actual character reputation. You know, are you a reputable character? Yes or no? And now you're going to have people judging them, well, he's only got 150 herbalism, he must suck, or hey, he's still using a piece of AQ40 gear, or anything like that. Or he's made an odd gear choice, or he's made an odd spec choice. That doesn't define you as a player. And I think that's a very, very dangerous road to go down, because you are taking the idea a lot further than it used to be. It used to be a case of, well, you might be defined by the gear you have and the amount of progress you've made in raiding. That's cool, because that does define you quite significantly as a person. If you have progressed and earned a lot of gear in AQ40 or Naxxramas, then in theory, certainly in theory, you should be a pretty damn good raider. In theory. But what happens when people start defining people by what gear they now have? Because maybe they've replaced it with some Dungeon Set 3, or what choice they've made in various other respects. You know, if they've got a bizarre choice in spec, or they are doing various other odd things with their character that they just want to do out of personal preference, and people get judged by it. I think that's a very bad thing. People should have to build up reputation within their communities. It's a community-building thing. And if you change that with something cold and statistical and mechanical, then I believe you're really actually creating some damage. You're really creating a little bit of a void underneath the community and saying, well, you know, all your old-style community stuff is old hat because you can now view all of these statistics and judge people on numbers. I don't believe that that's a good thing whatsoever. You know, I really don't. Yeah, you could judge me by the amount of honourable kills I have and say whether or not I'm a good PvPer. I'm not an amazing PvPer, but I used to be a pretty damn good duelist when I had the spec for it. And now you can look at my arena wins to losses and say that I'm the worst PvPer on the planet because I happen to be PvPing with a 61-point arcane spec and gear which is geared towards PvE, just because I do it for a laugh. You know, myself and my shaman friend go in there for a laugh. But you can judge me by that. And that's not a good thing. That really is not a good thing, in my honest opinion. Now, I have no doubt that you guys have some opinions on this, so feel free to email themurloc@gmail.com. themurloc@gmail.com. And just tell me, what do you think about the Armory? What do you think about Blizzard in general taking other people's ideas and implementing them into the game? Good thing, bad thing? Blizzard's always done it, of course, with WoW, but just how far can Blizzard go without effectively becoming plagiaristic? And I did just say, you know, Blizzard actually committing plagiarism as regards to other people's ideas. How acceptable is that? I would love to know what you think about that. Email themurloc@gmail.com. Right. Something that a lot of you have been waiting for, and I have a special announcement to give after this particular interview. Spirit Wolf is a legendary comic artist. You might have seen his work all over the forums. I have an interview with him. 20 minutes of glorious interview with the Australian nutter known as Spirit Wolf. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. The Spirit Wolf interview. Enjoy.